Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. We are continuing on with another ink exploration today, and today we're doing pink inks. So this category I kind of include everything from hot pink to medium pink to kind of just like what you would consider normal pink, I guess. Nothing super light and nothing super dark, so they're kind of like the middle range of pink. As usual for supplies today, I have my A5 Hobonichi notebook here with the original Tomoe River paper, jar of water, the tape dispenser I've been using to hold all my ink vials, a condiment cup here inspired by Leanne Likes, old white t-shirt that I've been using as kind of like a towel, rag, whatever. I have a plastic dropper today, and then my Kakimori brass tip pen with the aluminum handle. I've really been enjoying the weight of this one a little bit more than the wood, but I'll probably go back to the wood one of these days. But for the aluminum, I'm doing with it for now. In terms of inks today, we have 11 to get through. A couple of them may not really fit into this category, and I want your thoughts on that. So let's just jump straight in. This wouldn't be a pink exploration without Diamine Hope Pink, and that is our first ink of the day. This ink is 100% giving Susanji Komen Cancer Walk, Barbie, hot pink, 2000s era, blue jeans in hot pink, horrible hot pink eyeshadow, all of the hot pink. It is hot pink. It does have a little bit of shading when it dries down and a little bit of sheen, not much. But this color is vibrant, in your face, hot pink. And I think it's very on trend for the Barbie movie we had this year. And I just have to say that for now. Margot Robbie and this ink should become friends. Next up, we have Pilot Pink. This is a cartridge that I squirted into a sample vial just so we could swatch it in a big swatch and see how it performs next to other bottled ink. I don't think you can actually get Pilot Pink in a bottle. I think it only comes in the cartridges, but it is a very beautiful hot pink color. And if you thought Diamine Hope Pink was hot pink, I don't think I sold it well enough, because Pilot Pink is hot pink. Okay, this ink is 10 times the vibrancy of Diamine Hope Pink, same almost exact shade. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it as well when it dries, but not as much shading as Hope Pink. It is so vibrant. I honestly don't really write with this pink because it is super, super bright pink, and I don't typically go for this color. It's really pretty, and it's in a cartridge, which is really easy to do with like travel and, you know, ease of use. So if you like pink ink and you like Pilot pens, this one is a winner. But to me, it is so in your face and so vibrant, but it's still really pretty. Next, we have DeAtramentis Document Fuchsia. If you're on the hunt for a permanent pink ink, or a more permanent pink ink, I guess, the Document Fuchsia by DeAtramentis is a really good one. I have some complaints and some likes with the document inks from DeAtramentis. Some of the colors are really good, and some of the colors are kind of like, eh. This one's one of the good ones for me. It is bright, it is pink, but it's definitely more purple leaning pink, so Fuchsia is a definitely good name for this one. I would say in terms of writing, it writes very smoothly. I have no problems with this ink in any of the pens I've tried it in, and this is actually my second sample of it, believe it or not. And I've only been able to find this one at Goulet Pens. So if you know another place to get Document Fuchsia, please leave it in the comments so other people can find it as well. The next ink we have here is Ferris Pink Sugar Beach. Pink Sugar Beach is a shimmer ink, one of the, I think, 2 that I have today, and it is beautiful. It's a good natural pink color. The shimmer is also kind of a pink color too, maybe a little bit more silvery pink, and it doesn't really have much else going on with this ink. I think it's beautiful. It's a nice color. Not my favorite. I don't see myself using this one as much as some of the other ones I have in this color, but I will say, as with Ferris Wheel Press inks, some are more dry than others. This one does not have that feature. It definitely is, again, one of those inks that's a bit more wet flowing for Ferris Wheel Press, and I was really happy to have that with this ink. since it is a more red tone. I think that's really common for their brand, is the more red toned ones have better flow. Next up, we have another Ferris Wheel Press ink, and this is Ferris Wheel Press Pink Eraser. I almost didn't want to include this ink in my pink ink explorations because it's a bit orange red. Maybe this would be like a really dark coral color, but because of the shading, I felt like it needed to be in the pinks, and we're gonna leave it at that. It definitely does look like those little pink erasers you used to use in grade school that you would just stab your pencil into a bunch of times. I cannot be the only one that did that, where you just stab your pencil into the eraser. Anyways, it is a nice shader. It does have some beautiful shading. Other than that, it's very standard. It is, again, not super dry, but not super wet for Ferris Wheel Press. And it's a pretty color. It's very unique. I would definitely say I only have one other ink that is similar to this color, and it's the next ink that I have. And with that, it is Diamine Cozy Up. Again, I don't know if this one can really be considered pink. It's almost like a dark coral again, but it has very similar properties to the Ferris Wheel Press Pink Eraser, and I had to put them side by side just so we can see similarities, differences, what have you. I think when it gets time to they dry down, I'll do more of an in-depth explanation of what's going on, but I would say in terms of shading, they're very close, but still very different. Next up, we have one of my personal favorites, and that is Iroshizuku Kosumosu. This ink is again more in that hot pink territory, but it's much more soft. It's much more easy on the eyes, very flower petal-y, hot pink, and it's beautiful. It's one of my favorites. It has a bit of shading and a bit of sheen, and it's just a really good standard ink writer experience. I honestly really love the Pilot Iroshizuku line. I've talked about that in probably every single Pilot Iroshizuku ink that I've talked about, but this one is a beautiful color, and if I go for pink, this is honestly one that I typically run for to pick out, just because it's a standard pink color and it shows up as pink in writing and not super red or super orange or anything like that. It's a pretty true pink ink when I write with it. Next up, we have a new ink to me, and this is Ferris Wheel Press Bumbling Blossom. Now, this ink is new to me because it only recently came out in the kind of second half of 2023, and I originally wasn't able to get my hands on it because it sold out and I couldn't find a sample anywhere. Then Goulet had them in stock, and I picked one up, and I have to say I'm underwhelmed. I am underwhelmed. The color of this one's very pretty. It's a standard pink ink. Honestly, I think Pink Sugar Beach is prettier than this one. They're the two shimmer inks that I have today. Bumbling Blossom is supposed to have a dual shimmer. It's supposed to be like golden green, and then it's supposed to have shading and sheen. And when I swatched it for the first time, it had like none of those things. It was kind of like just a pink ink with a little bit of shimmer in it. And like I said, I was very underwhelmed. I felt like Pink Sugar Beach was so pretty with the kind of pink shimmer that it had, that Bumbling Blossom has to be close behind it because it's part of the fairy tale lines from Ferris Wheel Press, which are always really good. And this one, I just was very underwhelmed. It's the best way I can put it. It's a beautiful color, but not as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be. Next up, we have 𝗂𝗶𝘁𝗵 Oji Cherry. This ink is so pretty in person. I don't know if the camera will pick up its like consistency, but I would definitely say 𝗂𝗶 is a fun brand. I only have a few inks by them. This one's probably my favorite, and it's a beautiful bright pink color. I would say it's not quite hot pink in terms of like the Pilot Pink or Diamine Hope Pink, but the Oji Cherry is more of like a lighter version. It's like hot pink light. It has some beautiful shading when it dries down, and it does have a little bit of a sheen as well, but it's still very, very standard in writing. Like, I don't know how to describe it. In writing, it is much more pink and just like a pink ink, but in swatches, it looks way more exciting. I don't really, like I said, have a lot of 𝗂𝗶 inks, and this one is one of my favorite ones that I do have. So if you have any other 𝗂𝗶 inks that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can get a hold of them. I only have been able to find samples of them at Vanessa, but if anybody else has any recommendations for these, I would love to know, because their consistency is really good. Next up, we have Sailor Shikiori Sakura Mori. This pink ink is so pretty. This is what reminds me of like a rose pink. It's very floral pink to me, and it's very medium pink. It's not super hot or super dark, super red, super orange, nothing. It is a good medium, perfect pink. It is so pretty. I think that honestly, this is probably one of my favorite pinks just because it is really standard and has nothing super exciting about it. And I know that's probably not always the funnest part when it comes to fountain pen inks, but this one is a great writer. It is a gorgeous color, and it's Sailor, which means it's going to behave great for me always. I've never had a bad experience with a Sailor ink. I would definitely say in terms of color, it may not be considered standard pink. Maybe it's a little bit lighter, but I think this is like a true medium pink for me. But I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments, because you guys always have varying opinions, and it's always fun to see what you guys have to say. And the last ink for the regular pinks ink category is Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji. Now, I know what you're going to say. Danielle, you're crazy. Momiji is not pink. It is red. It belongs in the red category. It belongs in even the dark pink category, whatever. Hear me out. So Momiji is darker pink, yes, but depending on what pen you write with, this ink comes across a whole different color. So I typically use this ink in my finer nibbed pens, and it definitely comes off a lot more hot pink or dark hot pink than just, you know, the reddish color that it comes up in the swatch most of the time. I wanted to put it in this group so we could see how it compares to other inks that are a bit more hot pink versus red, because I feel like this ink can either go pink or red. So depending on what other inks you would put it next to is what it's going to look more like. I also think when this one dries down, it has a whole different color perspective than when it's wet. So it starts off as one color and dries to something else, similar to like a chroma shading ink, but I don't think it has chroma shading. It just has some nice darker shading in general. It does also have a bit of a sheen, which I think is really nice. And yeah, I wanted to include it in this category because I feel like it'll fit better here than the dark inks or red. Like it doesn't fit in those two categories for me. So we'll see what you guys have to say and if you'll fight me in the comments. Alrighty, that is it for the inks for now. I'm gonna let these finish drying down, and then I'll be back in a minute to show you the dried versions, and we'll do some close-ups and comparisons. I definitely think that I'm pretty close with a lot of these. I feel like a lot of them kind of mix into the standard pink, hot pink, medium pink family. So again, we'll wait till they finish drying, but I think this is a pretty spot on ink exploration, if I do say so myself. But anyways, I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, I am back and everything is pretty much dried down. I would definitely say the DeAtramentis Document Fuchsia is still a little bit wet, but I'm going to zoom you guys in and we'll do some close-ups. So starting off, we had the ever gorgeous Diamine Hope Pink. It really is Susan G. Komen breast cancer pink, Barbie pink. It is pink. It is super pink. Pretty standard. It does have a very, very, very minor sheen. I honestly don't even know if the camera's going to pick that up. It is kind of a greenish yellow color though, if you can see it. And it does have some nice shading that gets a little bit darker there. Very standard in general. I think it's a beautiful color, and it is hot pink. Next, we had Pilot Pink in the cartridge. So much more pigmented than the Diamine Hope Pink, as you can see. Still has very similar shading though, where it gets a little bit kind of darker reddish color in there. It does have a bit of a stronger yellow-green sheen than the Diamine Hope Pink does, but it is beautiful. Again, really standard. Honestly, I think in writing sample, these two would be really hard to tell apart. Just be a good like mystery ink if y'all wanted to play one of those games, but it's again a beautiful hot pink color. DeAtramentis Document Fuchsia is a fantastic document pink color. It does lean a little bit more purple, which I think is fuchsia is an appropriate name. It doesn't have a sheen or really any shading. It just is pretty flat. It does have a wet spot there in the middle that's still pretty strong. I've left these to dry for like over an hour, so I'm surprised that's still not dry. Maybe the back, maybe I put too much ink down. I don't know. But anyways, it's a beautiful color, very standard. I really like this document ink. Like I said with some of the other DeAtramentis documents, they're not all the greatest, but this one is a good one. Then we had Ferris Pink Sugar Beach. This one's so pretty. It's a nice muted pink color, very much like a medium pink, and the pinky silvery shimmer that it has is really pretty with it. It honestly reminds me of like gumdrop pink, you know, like the little gumdrop candies that have the sanded sugar on them. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Next, we had Ferris Pink Eraser. This one, I guess, would be considered maybe more like a dark coral, like I was saying when I swatched it, but it is still very medium pink. It's just a bit more red leaning. Gorgeous shading, no sheen, very pretty, standard, like kind of medium red pink color, but it's not dark enough to be a dark pink. It's still a very medium based color. Next to it, we had Diamine Cozy Up, which is from the 2022 Green Ink Vent. Again, very similar shading. Honestly, these two next to each other, I'm glad I did that. Diamine is much more red and Pink Eraser is much more pink. So I would say this one's more coral and this one is more pink. But still, they're really, really close to each other. Next, we had Iroshizuku Kosumosu. I love this ink. It is so pretty. I love like the medium pink base with a hot pink center. It has a bit of a green yellow sheen. Gorgeous. It's probably my favorite pink out of the Iroshizukus, honestly, just because it's just like a good medium color and honestly always looks pink when writing. Every time I've used it, it's always looked pink. Even in broad pens, it looks pink, and I think that's what I like about it. Then we had Ferris Bumbling Blossom. Again, very underwhelming. I will say on camera, the sheen is showing, or the shimmer is showing up very green, and in person it is very pink. So I guess it does have the dual toned shimmer. It's just really hard to see depending on how you're looking at it. No sheen, just a little bit of shading on top of the shimmer. And yeah, I was very underwhelmed with this one. I wanted it to be more than it was, but it's a nice standard pink color. I think next to the Pink Sugar Beach, they would have been very similar, just a different shimmer color. And I honestly can say that I prefer the Pink Sugar Beach to Bumbling Blossom, but that just might be my preference. Then we had Kobe number 30 Oji Cherry. This is such a beautiful color. It is hot pink in the center, but the like standard ink color base is more of like a baby, like a bright baby pink. So maybe this one's more light pink than regular pink. I don't know. It does also have a little bit of like an orange shade to it as well on the outer rim there. And no sheen, just like it is. I thought it had sheen. I remember having sheen, but maybe I was wrong. As you can see, I have plenty of pink inks to compare it to, but it's a beautiful color. Like I said, I like Kobe inks so far. This is one of the ones that I've tried and used the most, and yeah, I can't complain. Then we had Sailor Shikiori Sakura Mori. Beautiful medium pink color, medium pink shading, gorgeous. Yes, just it's a great base medium pink color. It is so standard, so beautiful. It's like flower petals. It's a very beautiful color. It almost has like a richness to it in person compared to some of the other ones. It has like an oomph in the background. And lastly, the one you all are probably going to fight me on is Iroshizuku Momiji. And this sheened a heck of a lot more than I remember it sheening. Definitely a very strong green yellow sheen on this one. And it does have that darker pink shading like I talked about, but the base color on the outside is still like a medium red pink to me. It's still too light to be dark pink, and I think it's not quite red enough to be considered a red. I have thoughts, that's all. But this one was a good one to end off on. I don't know if it fits in this family. I want to know your opinion, so you let me know in the comments. Alrighty, that is it for the pink inks number 2, the standard pink inks, hot pink inks, medium pink inks, whatever you want to call them. I do think these all kind of fit together in their own way. Maybe the fuchsia is a little bit more magenta or purple leaning, which is common with the fuchsia naming. Maybe these two are a little bit more coral than pink, but I still think they really have a good pink undertone. And maybe Momiji is just too red for this group, but I feel like it's still really pink. This one's tough. I definitely would say my favorite is the Iroshizuku Kosumosu, and then after that, probably, if we're sticking with still standards, is going to be the Shikiori Sakura Mori. But the shimmer one, I know I only have 2 to pick from here, but it's definitely going to be the Pink Sugar Beach, just because it's so much more I don't know, fun. Like, it's just like, it's pink and they're sparkly, and yeah. The Bumbling Blossom is still beautiful. It's just, I was so disappointed with it when I swatched it. I think that's kind of like what ruined it for me, but it's okay. If you are interested in any of the other ink explorations I have done, be sure to check out the playlist in the description, and I will also try to link it up in the cards for you guys. I think we are on number 22, 23. I'm losing count of how many ink explorations I've done. Anyways, check the title. I've had it all numbered that way. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today, for watching all of these beautiful pink inks, letting me live my Barbie moment. And I will see you in the next one for our last pink category. And then we get to probably the most demanded color that I've gotten, and that is purple. So last pink is next week, and then we're moving on into purples. All right, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.